Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insiders. We come to you from the locker room today. I'm Stephen King. Today we're going to continue our conversation talking Islanders basketball with head coaches Coaches Wilson and Chadwick of Islander women's basketball. Starting things off, though, is the head coach of the men's team, Coach Coaches Wilson. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Now, your squad, last couple times on the floor, boy, have you been facing some offensive juggernauts. A couple teams coming in, Northwestern State and then Cal State Fullerton, both top 10 teams in scoring. Let me ask you this. How did your team fare? Were you impressed with their efforts, especially defensively against such high, powerful offensive teams?
Well, we've been pretty good defensively. The truth be told, the last 10 games or so, our defense has really been locked down. Where we really struggled has been on the offensive side. We've had halves where we shot the ball well, but we've had those dry spells. In particular, in the second half, those have really kind of been our undoing. As a coach at this point in the season, I feel really good about our future. I feel really good about the way we're playing defensively, but it's been an offensive struggle, and that's been a source of, I think, a little bit of frustration for everybody.
I know that there was maybe a little offensive struggle against Fullerton from some of your key components, some of the guys that we've been looking to on a regular basis, the Will Nelsons, the John Jordans. But it was interesting because we all of a sudden saw the emergence of a freshman in Jelani Curry, who you've been talking about highly as of late, talking about his work ethic and practices. He's playing his way into more minutes. But this time, it wasn't just the fact that he puts out a great effort. This time he put the ball in the hole.
Well, and that's what we need. I mean, frankly, that's what we've really lacked. We haven't had a game this year where we had 3 or 4 guys really lock in and play at a high level, let alone at a consistent level. What good teams have is they have a go-to guy that's a centerpiece, and then they have the guys around that contribute night in, night out, and you have a pretty good idea of what you get. Jelani played a terrific game, gave us 13 points off the bench, and just really did a lot of the little things. He was really, really good at breaking down Cal State Fullerton's defense and getting inside the paint and really forcing them to have to play their defense in a little bit different way. They really try to pressure up on us, but his ability to get to the rim just opened things up, and before you know it, John Jordan is getting back in the paint, and Hamid Ali really stepped up and knocked down some big shots for us.
Jelani, bench player, your bench in general, they've been doing a pretty good job as of late. They scored 42 points against Northwestern State, another 33 against Fullerton.
Yeah, well, and we've tried to move things around a little bit, and something that we've talked about off camera is the fact that we've had so many guys in our starting lineup. We are an experienced team right now. We're still young. But we've had a number of guys that have logged a lot of minutes over the course of the year, and they've seen it from both sides, the starters or guys coming off the bench. So some of those guys that we're bringing in as reserves have a pretty good feel in terms of what's to be expected and what our needs are. And hopefully we can continue to grow as a basketball team. The great thing about the group that we've got is we've got everybody coming back, and that could be good news, could be bad news, but I think with a young basketball team and the progress that we've shown, we can add 1 or 2 more pieces. I think we could be a really terrific basketball team as our future unfolds.
Last week, only 1 game. Does that break in the schedule help out your team physically, especially this late in the season?
Well, I think late in the season with a young team to be able to have some rest and get a little bit of separation emotionally, I think it does wonders. We still got a couple guys that have been banged up. Losing James King was significant to our basketball team. James has a slight shoulder separation, shoulder sprain. And just we're at a point, Stephen, I think, where we felt like our rotation was kind of solid in spite of guys being a little bit up and down. The guys coming off the bench kind of knew where they were coming in and where they could fit in. The starting lineup, I think, was very comfortable, especially from a defensive standpoint. And so losing James kind of threw a wrench into things, and so we're kind of backtracking and scrambling again. But I think the good news is we've had guys that have had to make these kind of adjustments all year long. So I think we have the ability to finish the season strong with 4 to go.
Bigs have been improving, and I think on a relative basis have been fairly consistent. They're going to be challenged this week. The Lions bring Roosevelt Johnson in, Nichols brings Fred Hunter in, and these are 2 of the bigger, thicker, more talented players in the Southland Conference. How have our bigs improved since the last time they've seen those players?
Well, as a body, they've improved tremendously. You talk about consistency. We're consistently better, but we're still inconsistent Foul trouble has been one of the issues that have plagued a number of guys, but when they've stayed out of foul trouble, they've played well. And so that consistent factor in terms of their ability to perform when they're on the floor has been good. The big issue is we need to keep a couple of those guys on the floor just a little bit longer so that rotation can continue to gel. It's amazing how Zane Knowles has gone through spells where he's had foul trouble. Nate Maxey's gone through spells where he's had foul trouble. Now Dale Francis is going through a spell where he's experiencing foul trouble. And we've got to find a way to keep those guys out of foul trouble so that we can continue to work on that rotation and develop that consistency that we need to be able to win games.
No doubt. And as I mentioned just moments ago, this homestand coming up this weekend is the final homestand of the season, as you'll take on Southeast Louisiana on Thursday, followed by Nichols on Saturday. The thing that's kind of noted about this is usually every year there's a senior day. This year there's no senior day. Why is there no senior day? Because you have no seniors, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this one. We talk about how young we are, but how important was it, and what did you miss from not having a senior on this team this year?
Well, when you have seniors, you have guys that have been through the program, whether they're 2-year guys or whether they're 4-year guys or 3-year guys for that matter, and in some instances 5-year guys. And so it says a lot of things. The subtle things that it says is that this is a brand new program and we're building. What it says more directly is that we've missed a little bit of leadership in terms of how we want to do things, in terms of showing the maturity to respond to adversity and dealing with those things, showing the leadership ability to kind of pull guys together. That's just something that we've lacked. It's one of those things that you talk about, what goes on around the locker room, what goes on around campus. Sometimes you just need a guy that's going to walk the walk and live it out the way you need. And that's been an Achilles for us in terms of what we experience in practice. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword when you don't have the leaders. In terms of our practices, what I would say is that we have a lot of guys that get better in spite of themselves. They show up and they blend into the system and they work hard and they get better. When you have leaders, those kids tend to be a little more invested. And especially when you have seniors. It's the last time around, so they're a little bit more committed and they want to get a little bit more out of the season, and they show a little bit more fire and a little bit more urgency. And that's one of the things that we lack. But now going forward, again, I can't tell you how excited I am about the future of this basketball program. With the guys that we have coming back, with the opportunity to build in the offseason, I'm just very, very enthused about what the future looks like for us.
As we all are, that's for sure. Coach, I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Willis Wilson joining us here in the locker room, all part of our Islanders Insider Show. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Islanders baseball. Stay with us. From the locker room, this is Islanders Insider.
What's Massage Envy Spa? For me, it's healthy, it's affordable. I mean, he always wants
pain relief.
Right. And I want a healthier complexion. And now we can get a customized massage or a healthy skin facial.
At a really good price.
At a great price. And nothing feels better than that.
Customized massages and healthy skin facials, all at the perfect price. Start a healthy routine today with Massage Envy Spa.
Go, you'll see.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. Let's take a look at Islanders baseball. In particular, designated hitter, senior Jonathan Gonzales, the man with the sideburns. Alex Buck with the story.
Heading into the 2013 season, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi baseball team has a new group of leaders. Among those is Jonathan Gonzales, a right-handed power hitter entering his senior season who has grown tremendously in his ability as a vocal leader as well as a leader by example.
You know, I've kind of tried to do a good balance of both this year with me and Eric Weiss having the reins this year, and Eric does a lot of the vocal stuff, and you know, we both show it with our action on the field as well. But where I've taken some of my leadership is individualizing it with some of the new guys and making sure that there's a good one-on-one chemistry. Let them know that they can come to me and ask me any questions at any time, whether it's on the field, off the field. And so I kind of make sure I meet with some of those guys, you know, casually a couple times a week and ask them how they're doing. So that's kind of the leadership role that I've stepped up to do this year.
Gonzo's been great. Whether it's a day where he needs to be vocal, he needs to give a little fire to some of those younger guys and make sure that we're moving with the right speed, the right tempo, and doing things the Islander way. He's been on top of it, and then obviously the easy part for Gonzo is leading by example.
Gonzales' leadership by example was highlighted by his willingness to play through an arm injury he suffered last year.
Yeah, it was definitely a shock when it first happened because I'd already gone through a arm tear before with the shoulder when I was younger. So knowing that it happened again, I thought, man, this is a long recovery. It's going to be a while before I'm back at it. And luckily, with the help of Brett McQueen and stuff, I was able to stay in the game, keep playing. And the main thing was that I wasn't going to play if I couldn't give it my all, and I was able to give it my all. So I was there day in, day out, doing my leadership as an action player on the field.
Gonzales can play both in the field at first or at designated hitter, an option which he personally prefers.
Well, DHing is always something that I enjoy because, I'm a big-time hitter. That's what I do. That's what I'm brought here. That's what Malone likes me for. So DH is always good because you can let your mind focus on the hitting. You don't have to worry about the fielding. So every at-bat, you're fresh. You can have an at-bat. If it goes wrong, you can think about it. Hey, we're going to do this differently. If you have a bat that goes good, you think about repeating it. When you get into playing the field mentality, whatever happens in your at-bat, you got to flush it because you got to go out to the field and you got to be focused pitch to pitch and make sure you're ready to make a play. So good or bad, if you're in the field, you got to flush that at-bat and get ready to field the ball.
As the Islanders embark on this 2013 season, they open the year with 13 straight home contests, an option that they believe will help them with a number of newcomers on the roster.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the returners know how hard it is to play at Chapman. It's not an easy place to play. It's got wind conditions. Sometimes with the sky in the background, it gets hard to see the ball. So we know those kind of things and what it's going to be like when the lights turn on in the spring. The young guys are who I think is going to benefit the most with these 13 home games because obviously we've been doing a lot of inter squatting over the last 7 months and getting after it. But I think when it comes to turn on the lights and stuff, I think they're going to be more comfortable because we're at home those first 13 games. They're going to see how the environment affects it when it's a different team, when they come in with their energy. And I think that when we go on the road, those guys are going to be a little bit more comfortable and ready to play at a different venue.
For Islanders Insider, this is Alex Buck. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider, coming to you from the locker room once again today. Time to talk some Islander women's basketball with the head coach of the women's program, Coach Royce Chadwick. Coach, appreciate you being here.
Good to be here.
Well, only one game this past week. It was one of those nights where it was a challenge. You already put together a tough weekend schedule and having to come back for a Tuesday event. Northwestern State coming to town, unfortunately on the wrong end, 68-58. Troublesome. Because I know this was one of those games that if won really gave us a strong step forward to a possible tournament berth.
Well, any loss is troublesome. I don't think there's one loss that you can look at that is any greater than the other when you're talking about conference race. They all count the same. But this one, they shot the ball, I think they shot 57% from the floor in the first half, and that shouldn't happen against us the way we defend. And we didn't play with the sense of urgency in the first half that we needed. We tried to bring it back in the second half on the defensive end, and we cut the deficit, had some opportunities, missed some block charges that we should have taken that would have, I think, changed the momentum of the game. And we just couldn't make that play down the stretch to put us over the hump. So we ended up losing the basketball game, and it was very, very hard to swallow.
It appears that really things were close, but that final 6 minutes of the first half was significant. In the second half, we outscored them. But I think really that 6 minute stretch, I think it was a 2 or 3 point game at that point, and then that's when they kind of opened things up.
We're in a situation where our mental toughness, I think, is questioned quite often because if somebody comes down and hits a three against us, we think, oh my gosh, I've got to go back and get that back. And we are not very good three-point shooters, so we have to change our thought process there. We don't have to get it all back in one possession. You know, we can get it back in a multitude of ways. Let's go to the free throw line. Let's get an offensive rebound. Let's do some things other than come down and take an errant shot. And I thought that they hit a couple of threes down that stretch, and we tried to go back down and launch up a three to get it back all in a hurry. And we just got to be a little bit more mentally in tune to the entire game instead of that instant.
Well, now your team doesn't play again until Thursday the 28th. Got a little time down. At this stage of the season, is it a welcome gap, you know, to have this little time away? And well, what are you guys going to be doing? What's your schedule like?
Well, without a doubt, it's a great opportunity for us to heal some of the bruises, heal some of the injuries that we have. We can do a lot of rehab with our players, let them get caught up in school. It's a situation where we can focus a little bit more on being here on campus. We don't have to go anywhere. We can get caught up, and we can implement some new things for these last 4 games. And this team has been a team that if you give them something new, it's a shot in the arm, and they really do well with it for a couple of games. You know, we started playing the pressure 2-3 zone and won back-to-back games, but about the 3rd or 4th game, they're kind of tired of it, and they want to move on to something else. And so that's just a maturity thing. It's just a situation that you have to grow up and start hitting the same old boring winners. You know, I mean, you got to make the same old normal 12-foot jumper instead of trying to say, well, I've hit that 12-foot jump shot. Now I want to go in and make a triple scoop layup. No, you know, just go out and win basketball games the old-fashioned way with blue-collar hard work.
And, well, getting the athletes prepared, but in your circumstance also, it might be a chance to get out a little bit, and for yourself, Coach White, Coach Brunson, Coach Gron, to maybe get out on the road and maybe go see a couple players.
It's a huge weekend for us. Texas high school playoffs are really hot and heavy right now. The junior college seasons are winding down. Great chance for us to get on the road, and we will. As soon as we get through here, we'll be hitting the road and trying to get out and see what's going on with our recruits. We'll also be looking at people that we've been tracking all year who are leading their teams to places they've never been. And you know, March starts an evaluation period where, a contact period. We can go out and go face to face with people, and this is going to be a huge spring for us. You know, we need to sign a couple of players and people that we think are going to really make a difference to go with our fall signing class. So, you know, the lifeblood of our program, any college program, is recruiting, and we need to have a good spring, and so this gives us an opportunity to go do that without missing a lot of practice.
Let's look at the Southland Conference for a moment here. How would you assess the league and the way they performed this year? You've seen everybody to this point, and who do you truly believe are the standouts?
Well, I think it's a good year for the league because every place we go, you know, you go to Sam Houston, they talk about they got 1,000-point scorers. You're Oral Roberts, we got the all-time leading assist girl that's a senior this year in Oral Roberts history. We got the all-time leading scorer in Oral Roberts history. You go to Central Arkansas, they have a senior who is setting all kinds of records. There are seniors across this league that are putting up huge numbers, and so it's a great year for the league. It also bodes well for us because what we're going to lose in our senior class statistically doesn't match up to what they're losing in their senior classes statistically. So next year when they bring their freshmen back, we'll be bringing our freshmen back. It's a great opportunity for us to make some inroads and move up in the league standings as soon as the season's over. Their great players are gone. Our good players are gone. We start over. So we're looking forward to some of the seniors in this league graduating and moving on.
We mentioned 4 regular season games remain, and it's kind of a gut check time, a final stretch. And would you agree that this final stretch, these final 4 games, are really more about character than anything else?
I think our whole season's been about character. I think from the get-go, it was a situation when you have this schedule, we're Indiana, Colorado, Auburn, Texas, you are in a situation where when you go into those games, you are a decided underdog. It is up to you to rise to the occasion and show that you are a worthy adversary. I think when we were tested, it's like the size of the dog in the fight. Those were big dogs, and there were occasions where for a half we stepped up and played like the big dogs. But for an entire game, they're too big, they're too strong, they wear you out, and that's what Auburn did to us. Now the Texas game, we didn't really step up and fight like we should have fought. but night in, night out, when you go into those situations where the adversity is so stacked against you, it's a gut check every single game. So, you know, we lost our confidence early in November, and we've really never gotten that back. That stretch right there, I think, defined our season in that we have had Herculean challenges throughout the year, and we still have those. So these last 4 games are nothing new for us. We got to rise to the occasion.
No doubt. Royce Chadwick, head coach of Islander women's basketball, joining us here in the locker room. Coach, again, make the most of your time down, and we'll see you back out on the court on the 28th. And
Thanks,
I appreciate
Steve.
your time today.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Stay with us. More to come. When we come back, we'll talk about what's next for Islander athletics right here on Islanders Insider.
What's Massage Envy Spa? For me, it's healthy, it's affordable. I mean, he always wants
pain relief.
Right. And I want a healthier complexion. And now we can get a customized massage or a healthy skin facial
At a really good price.
at a great price. And nothing feels better than that.
Customized massages and healthy skin facials, all at the perfect price. Start a healthier routine today with Massage Envy Spa.
Go, you'll see.
Welcome back to Islanders Insiders. We wrap things up today from the locker room. Right now, let's bring you up to speed on what's going on this week in Islanders athletics. Islanders men's and women's basketball will take to the court on Thursday, February 28th in a Southland Conference doubleheader as they host Southeastern Louisiana. The women will take the floor at 5 p.m. and the men at 7:30 at the American Bank Center. Then Islanders Southland Conference basketball continues as women and men host Nicholls State on Saturday, March 2nd. 5 o'clock for the women, 7:30 for the men, once again at the American Bank Center. Islander baseball will get underway with a 3-game set on Friday, March 1st as they host Dallas Baptist. Game 1 of the 3-game series starts at 6:30 on Friday. On Saturday, March 2nd, 1 o'clock start. And on Sunday, March 3rd, the action will get underway once again at 1 o'clock. Coming up on Friday, March 1st, is the 47th Annual HEB Tournament of Champions for Islander men's tennis, with teams like BYU, Middle Tennessee State, Louisiana Lafayette, South Alabama, DePaul, and Western Michigan, along with UTSA, coming to town. This event hosted at the Thomas J. Henry Tennis Center. And the men's tennis team will also take on South Alabama in a dual match on Monday, March 4th, once again at the Henry Center. Islanders softball will be heading on the road Friday, March 1st, as they travel to San Marcos, Texas for the CenturyLink Classic, where they'll take on North Texas State at 10 a.m. They'll return to the Diamond on Saturday, March 2nd for a 12:30 start against Texas State, and back that up with the second game on the 2nd against Purdue at 5:30. They'll wrap up the CenturyLink Classic as they take on North Texas once again at 10 a.m. on Sunday the 3rd. For more information on all these events and all things Islander, you can go to goislanders.com or follow the Islanders on Twitter and Facebook. Once again, we thank Royce Chadwick of Islander women's basketball and Willis Wilson, the head coach of Islanders men's, for joining us here in the locker room. We thank Alex Buck for her report on Islanders baseball. And of course, thank you for tuning in today. From the locker room, I'm Stephen King. This has been Islanders Insider.